When you learned that you had won the fellowship, how did you react?
I was exceptionally happy, and I did a small dance in my heart because I was actually in a talk.
I think really I just stood up and then paced around my office for about 10 minutes, sort of before coming down to earth again.
I didn't dance. I went, oh, I had that reaction when people actually get a grant and they go, oh gee, I'm going to have to do all of those things I said.
So if you were to do a visual representation of the internal dance, what would that look like?
Are you sure you want to see this?
We'll only use it if it works.
I guess you'll be like a tiny jiggle.
I was really pleased to see the announcement of the Jubilee Fellows. There's not many ideas that pop out and surprise me in the university, but this was one that I was thinking, gosh, I wish I had this idea, because it so embodies, I think, the possibilities.
There are many grand challenges that are facing many areas of science, of health, environment and society that cannot be addressed with current advanced computing. These problems are grand challenges because they're too big for one discipline to solve. They're too complex for one method to address, and they're too important for us to wait. If we want different solutions, we need to start doing things differently. And that means working in different ways and with different people.
So far, astronomers have dealt with images of the night sky. Now that we have a film of the night sky, what we need are algorithms that are capable of taking this information and summarizing it in a meaningful way. We can use this information to discover new exotic phenomena in the universe, and this is where my research will go. As part of the Jubilee Joint Fellowship, I will plan to detect previously unseen astrophysical phenomena, taking advantage of this great new data that we have.
Primarily we're looking at seismic signals, so these are derived from either noise signals or actual earthquakes, and they tell us when we have an earthquake at one location, we sense it at another. That tells us what's in between. We can infer chemistry, temperature, a lot of different things. It's exactly like X-ray tomography that we use for our body. Just instead of X-rays, we're using sound waves. There's various phases in those waves, and the relative timing of those, also the width of the peaks tells us something. So there's a whole raft of things, and we use advanced computational geophysics to understand what's happened there, but also to understand, to map that back into what is in the Earth, we have to use advanced computational science techniques. And that's what brings together computer science and earth sciences in my project.
Now we can record from tens of thousands of neurons in awake and behaving animals. And you can extract the activity of each cell at a single cell level. We can also record very detailed data sets of animal behaviour thanks to advances in deep learning and things like pose tracking and computer vision. But the bottleneck now is how do we actually computationally analyse all of these huge data sets? So my project specifically will be looking at developing new methods and models for analysing these large data sets, and also transforming these methods into software tools that hopefully will be accessible to the wider neuroscience community to drive breakthroughs in the field.
If we look at the things that go wrong in cells that cause disease, we can break this down into a phylogenetic tree, and then we can say, oh, well, things that go wrong on this branch of the phylogenetic tree, this leads people to go to hospital. These ones just cause people to feel a bit sick. But if we can tell this from data, cellular data, from people's genome sequences, why wouldn't you have this in your medical record so that doctors can treat people before they get sick rather than when they turn up in hospital? You could roll this out into branch hospitals that don't have a senior consultant there all the time. We've used some machine learning methods, and we can actually do as well as the most senior clinicians, the senior nephrologist at Canberra Hospital. Actually, we can do a little bit better than they can.
Not just the human genomic sequence, but I will also get the genomic sequence for all the vertebrate species, or at least say 100 of them. And by doing an alignment of these sequences, and by applying advanced computational models and statistical models, I can look for areas that have been conserved through evolutionary time. Once I've discovered them, also computationally, we can work out a lot about their function.